Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another stream / video / Champions League post-match reaction on this channel. Real Madrid have progressed to the Champions League semi-finals after a goalless draw at Anfield against Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool side. Of course, the 3-1 victory they got in Madrid last week does send them through overall with a 3-1 win on aggregate. And yeah, overall, it does set up for a really, really good Champions League semi-final now. Of course, PSG versus Manchester City, who, of course, we'll get onto in a minute because City did, of course, win 2 legs over Borussia Dortmund, and they've just won 2-1 there tonight. Phil Foden with the winner once again, like in the first leg, sends Manchester City through for the first time, I think, in Pep Guardiola's reign, through to the semi-finals. But nevertheless, yeah, as you can tell, or you probably can't tell, but I am a Chelsea fan, for those of you who are new to the channel, and we are, of course, now playing Real Madrid in the semi-finals. It should be a really, really fascinating fixture, simply because of the fact that it's 2 very solid sides with 2 really good managers and 2 really good squads. It should be a really good tactical battle, and in terms of the overall quality of both teams in general. And yeah, it's the first time that Chelsea will have played Real Madrid in a competitive match since, I think, 1997, since before I was born anyway, which was 2001. We haven't played Real Madrid in my lifetime, but it's finally going to happen. Eden Hazard is going to come back to Stamford Bridge, but just in a Real Madrid shirt. And if he knocks us out with the Champions League, I might cry. I really might cry. But yeah, it's the last 4 of the Champions League now. Any of these teams left have a serious chance of taking the spoils in Istanbul on, I think, the 29th of May or the 27th of May, or one of the last days in May is when the final will be happening. Man City can't be doing the quadruple. Maybe they could, but yeah, overall, this is our chance. This is Madrid's weakest team in a while. Let's go Blues. I wouldn't say it's the weakest team in a while. I mean, to be fair, you probably are right in saying that because, of course, the past teams they've had have just been absolutely unbelievable. But they still have a really good team. We're going to have to be on form to win this game. But in saying that, I do have full belief in Thomas Tuchel and this Chelsea team to get through this one and overall to take the Champions League home. It's coming home. You heard it here first. It's coming home to Stamford Bridge. Ladies and gentlemen, oh my God, imagine if Chelsea win the Champions League this season. Even without fans on the ground, it'll still be absolutely special. But yeah, poor finishing from Liverpool, says A.H. Robbins Talk, and I couldn't have summed it up better myself. As you can tell by the title of this video / stream, Liverpool weren't clinical. They weren't clinical whatsoever, and in terms of the fact that they actually dominated the game to a certain extent, I think Real Madrid's game plan worked perfectly, don't get me wrong, and I think that Real Madrid overall, if you look at it from a tactical standpoint, were actually really, really good, and overall I think that they couldn't have asked for more in terms of their tactical battle, in terms of their performance as well. Liverpool absolutely battered Real Madrid with shots and chances in the hole. And yeah, obviously they couldn't really finish. I mean, Roberto Firmino missed a load of chances. Mohamed Salah missed a good few chances. Jorginho Wijnaldum missed an absolutely golden opportunity. I think it was either at the end of the first half or the start of the second half. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, we're going to smash Real Madrid 4-0 and 2-0. Are you sure about that, Josh? Are you sure about that? Because I think a lot of people actually are tending to underrate Real Madrid a bit. And yes, of course, they drew 0-0 tonight. And going forward, they didn't look the best. I mean, I think in terms of Real Madrid's attack tonight, they were kind of limited because I think they were just trying to hold on to what they have because obviously Liverpool had to chase the game. Real Madrid, all they had to do was just not concede or even just concede 1 goal and they were going through. That's all they had to do. And Real Madrid were actually really good in the first leg. They finished off Liverpool the way they wanted to. I think Benzema is a really underrated striker and has been for years now. His link-up play and his overall finishing ability is top-notch. I think Vinicius Jr. is a player who can show up on his day. That midfield is one of the best, even still at the age of I don't know if they're all in their mid-30s, Casemiro, Luka Modric and Toni Kroos. That is a world-class, absolutely world-class, top-quality midfield trio who are going to take some stopping, especially, it's going to be a really, really interesting battle against Real Madrid when we play them between those 3 in midfield of obviously Casemiro, Modric and Toni Kroos, alongside probably N'Golo Kante, and then I'd say Jorginho, because I think Mateo Kovacic is actually injured for both legs, which is really, really depressing. So it's going to be interesting to see if Kante and Jorginho can handle those trio, which I think Kante and Jorginho are perfectly set up to especially stop Modric and Kroos, who are going to be the 2, midfield dynamos and actually trying to create chances and getting Madrid forward, because Real Madrid are a team that kind of like to give the ball to Kroos or Modric, mainly Toni Kroos, and then get in behind and try and get the likes of Vinicius and Benzema on the end of it. And yeah, overall, it should be a really, really interesting and intriguing semi-final draw. And especially as well, because on the other side, you have the money bags, and that's rich coming from a Chelsea fan, mind the pun. But yeah, Manchester City versus PSG, that's going to be another absolutely unbelievable game between 2 of the most expensive sides ever assembled and 2 sides that do tend to play some very, very good football. And of course, we saw Manchester City and the test they had against Erling Haaland and Jadon Sancho, even though Sancho didn't even play. The test against Haaland, they seem to have passed. Diaz and Stones, of course, tonight. Can they now pass the Neymar and Mbappe test? That is going to be a completely different animal, because Haaland on his own is hard enough. When you have Mbappe and Neymar running at you, when we saw Neymar and Mbappe's performance the other night for Bayern, or against Bayern Munich, I should say, it was absolutely unbelievable, especially Neymar. I mean, he was absolutely ridiculous. And if he can turn it on against the City team again, PSG have every chance. And PSG, of course, do have some very good players as well, like, Marquinhos, Verratti, Di Maria, if he comes back as well. So overall, it's set up for a really, really good semi-final draw. And overall, as I said, Real Madrid extremely balanced tonight defensively as well. I think all they wanted to do really was hold on to their laurels. Zinedine Zidane doing a really good job there as per usual, and they're still fighting on the La Liga front as well with Atletico Madrid. I think they're only a few points behind them in La Liga as well. But yeah, as I keep saying, it's going to be a really interesting draw. And I want you to leave in the chat or in the comment section below, if you're watching this post-stream, who is winning the Champions League, and most importantly, who is getting to the final. Well, not most importantly, but who's going into the final, and most importantly, who's winning it, is basically what I'm trying to say. So get it down in the chat. I'll read a few of them out. And basically, in my personal opinion, I'll go on to PSG and City first, because the Chelsea one, I could say literally anything, being a Chelsea fan, because I could be optimistic or pessimistic in that one. PSG, Man City, I think City have just enough in them to get through in that one now. I think in previous years gone by, PSG would have, gone through. And in previous years gone by, you could argue Dortmund actually would have gone through tonight, because Jude Bellingham, when he scored, of course, Dortmund, if they held on to that 1-0 lead, they were going through. But of course, they got a penalty which Riyad Mahrez slotted away, and Phil Foden with that goal as well to send them through with a 2-1 victory, 4-2 on aggregate. It's going to be, a really interesting game between City and PSG. And as I said, two sides that are absolutely brilliant. And of course, Pochettino versus Pep, the almighty rivalry which we saw in 2019, which a game I was actually at, when, of course, the whole, Sterling last-minute VAR goal was disallowed between Spurs and City. I was actually at that game. But nevertheless, I've gone on a bit of a tangent. Basically, I think City's defence will have enough to get through the tie against PSG this time round, because, as I keep saying on this channel, and I have said a few times now, defence is absolutely crucial. It is key in getting through the Champions League. And I think City have that, on point this season with Ruben Diaz and John Stones, and then the fullbacks of, Cancelo and Kyle Walker, or Benjamin Mendy, if you want to put him in there, or even Zinchenko, who played tonight. So I think City will get through. In terms of Chelsea versus Real Madrid, I'm going to back my boys. I'm going to say Chelsea. I believe in Thomas Tuchel, because simply he hasn't given me a reason not to. I think Real Madrid will be a really, really tough game, and there's part of me saying that they will come over, and just beat us. But yeah, it's going to be a really, really interesting semi-final. I can't wait to watch the semi-finals. I think the first leg is in 2 weeks' time, and then the second leg is a week after that. But first of all, yeah, it's going to be really, really good. The Champions League this season has set us up for something absolutely unbelievable. If only the fans were in the grounds to witness it, it would have been something else. But nevertheless, Charles Alfaro says Chelsea to get the double this year, repeat of 2012. Imagine the scenes. It is actually a pretty similar situation and scenario to 2012, when we missed out the top four. Hopefully we still get top four, but we're outside the top four at the moment. And of course, we won the FA Cup that year and the Champions League. It would be absolutely unbelievable. Liverpool with Salah, Mane, Firmino, and still lost. At least Bayern tried without leaving Gnabry, or Lewandowski and Gnabry. Sorry, yeah. I mean, Bayern actually nearly got over PSG without Lewandowski and Gnabry, and Sané wasn't really firing either. So, yeah, if we go Chelsea and PSG in the final, who would win? That would be a really interesting final, because, of course, Thomas Tuchel, formerly of PSG, just missed out on the Champions League trophy to Bayern Munich last season in the final. It would be a really interesting game to see if Thomas Tuchel could go back to PSG and actually win it against them. I think it would be absolute scenes, especially with the fact that Pochettino, of course, had the heartbreak against Liverpool in 2019 and the year before that as well, losing to Liverpool in the final with Spurs. Overall, there's so many different storylines and scenarios we could plan out in our head. What's on the pitch is what matters. And in 2 weeks' time, we're going to see PSG versus Manchester City and Chelsea versus Real Madrid. I'm just happy to be in the semi-finals, but we want more. We want to go all the way, boys. And trust me, if we go all the way in the Champions League, you're not going to want to watch this channel for quite a while unless you're a Chelsea fan, because you will not hear the end of it off me, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, basically, it's gonna be a really, really. I keep saying it, but I just can't get the thought out of my head of how good a semi-final this is actually going to be. On paper, the four sides we have left, there's no underdog really. You could say Chelsea to a certain extent, but the way we're playing at the moment, I don't think Real Madrid will really fancy it that much against us, if I'm honest. I don't think any team that's left in the Champions League will actually want to play Chelsea. And I think that's the same case for all the four teams in it, like PSG, Man City, and Real Madrid as well. And yeah, overall, to conclude this stream, obviously my thoughts on today's game, pretty much obviously a 0-0 draw, so it was a pretty boring game on the whole. I think Liverpool pushed and pushed and pushed and did all they physically could, going forward. They just couldn't have that finishing touch. They didn't bring the shooting boots. And overall, they're going home, unfortunately for them, and Real Madrid will be taking their place in the semi-final. And boys and girls, I cannot wait for the semi-finals. I wish it was being played tomorrow. I really do, because I really want to see how these games pan out. And of course, the tactical battle and the overall quality between all the sides left in the Champions League is going to be absolutely insane. And yeah, hopefully all we can ask for is that we get a very good final 5 games to the Champions League this season. It's going to be a really interesting end to the season overall in the Premier League front as well for me, and in the FA Cup, of course, because Chelsea are still fighting on 3 fronts in that case. But nevertheless, make sure to leave a like on this stream, because it helps me out more than you guys could imagine, as I usually say. But honestly, it helps me massively in getting this video into the algorithm of YouTube. And also, if you're watching this post-stream as well as a video, make sure to leave a like. It helps me out absolutely massively. And also, if you could do me a favor in subscribing to the channel if you are new, that would be massively, hugely appreciated by myself, because we are looking to hit 1.6k subscribers on this channel as soon as we possibly can. More of these post-match reaction streams to come. They're coming out thick and fast, and even when the season ends, we have the Euros, and then next season we go again. But nevertheless, I'm not going to jump ahead of myself, because we have a very interesting end to the season, as I keep blabbing on about. I'm not going to hold your time for any longer. And yeah, Real Madrid